What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well. It's your boy Diego. Just wanted to swing in here and make a little video here of some things that I've been contemplating for the last maybe week or so. For those that don't know, I lost my 50-50 to Welt on Lotch's banner. So instead of getting Lotcha, I now have Welt. And, you know, I was trying to build him up, got him to 70, didn't get to his last ascension. Barely gave him a light cone, tried to build some of his traces, tried to get some relics, and I quickly realized how expensive it was to get to just this point. Truly, I think Welt has a lot of potential. I think he's going to be fantastic. He's my only imaginary character other than Yukong, which I'm super happy to have him. However, I've realized that it's genuinely weird and I guess just a weird thought to think that, holy crap, like it's gonna cost a lot of time and resources to really get this character up there. Now, again, because I lost that 50-50, I also thought to myself, well, what is my next character? Because I didn't keep pulling. After I lost to the Buddy Welt here, you can even see I stopped. I pulled Welt and that was it. Mainly because I had nothing left. I was really hoping to get Lotcha because I truly, to this day, something that I think about personally is that anything that can be done outside of turn, i.e. his heal is outside of turn, Blade's little like retaliation is outside of turn, even Jing Yuan's Thunder Daddy is outside of turn. All of these things are outside of turn, and I believe that that's a really powerful mechanic that shouldn't be slept on. Now, I've thought about it and I was like, do I really want Blade? Does he fit in any of my characters that I currently have? Does he fit with other characters that I currently have, like in terms of my teams? Is it going to be any better or worse if I slot him in with Tingyun, if I slot him in with a healer like Natasha, or is it better to have him on a team with, Bailu? These were my thoughts. And the thing is about how teams have been so far, truly, as of late, is that we pretty much slot in a DPS with some type of support, be it an offensive support like Silverwolf, or a neutral or defensive support like Tingyun, buffing up your current DPS, and a healer. That's kind of how it's been. And as you've been progressing, you've been kind of mainly focusing on your main DPS and then kind of building up your supporting characters enough so that they can fit with multiple teams, right? So because of that, maybe your supporting characters aren't as built. Maybe they're doing all right. They do pretty well. But your main DPSs, like your Yang Qings, your Dan Hungs, your Jing Yuans, even your Su Shangs, they're probably more decked out with all kinds of things than your other characters. Now, again, because I've been thinking about whether or not to pull on Blade, and granted I still have 3 days left, my other option truly was, well, should I pull for Kafka? And then I thought about it. What is it going to cost me to actually build Kafka? Because I tried to build other characters, I've done it, and I've been able to get a lot of characters, to like their second to last ascension, or their last ascension, depending on what they are. You can see here Tingyun's on her last ascension. I specifically got, Jing Yuan to his last ascension because that last trace is pretty critical, right? A lot of characters you might want to get their last trace, be it for Bailu for maybe extra 10%, Tingyun for a little bit more energy recharge, Silverwolf for getting more DPSs will essentially bring more resistance down. Sometimes that last trace is a big deal, but also the amount of money and credits and trace materials that it requires is a lot. So I thought about it. Kafka as a character, what does it mean for her in terms of building her up and making not just her optimal, but making her team optimal? And from what we understand so far about Kafka, from the trailer, from the announcement, from the 1.2 announcement, and the information that's been provided by Hoyoverse so far is that she is a character that enables dot teams by essentially making dots that are already on an enemy echo a second time, essentially making it trigger before the turn of that enemy, right? And on top of that, she has an ability to have a follow-up attack when other characters do basic attacks towards the enemy with her little gun, and she lays down shock, right? Now, face value, it's like, okay, this can be concocted into a crazy cocktail, can be really cool. But what does that mean for her to be not just great, but amazing? And it made me think that I'm probably going to have to build a 5-star and other 4 stars. Now, let's just imagine that we have Kafka. Let's say Jingyuan here is Kafka, and for sure right now we know that Sampo is going to more than likely be on one of her teams, and we'll say Sushang is Luca, and then we have a healer like Natasha. Now, I'm curious in terms of what's going to be the best thing for her. Is it that we're running Kafka plus a dot DPS, and instead of Luca, we have someone like Asta or Pela and a healer? Or are we going to be running Kafka plus 2 other DPSs, 2 other dot DPSs, and a healer? I ask this because I'm someone that, as of right now, I barely have 1.6 million credits because I've been, again, still trying to level up the characters and max them out to the best that I can with the characters I currently have. And this is kind of what I'm sitting on with materials and things like that. So, the most, as someone that isn't going crazy, isn't spending a lot of money in terms of like top ups and things like that, getting an express pass or a battle pass here or there, or even, free to play, like truly, like I'm thinking in the sense that how is this going to be the most efficient? Because you really are going to have to be thinking about what you invest in and how much that's going to be. Now, I was able to stumble upon this really cool website that Hoyoverse actually has, and it kind of goes over what that is. It's a leveling calculator, and you can put any character that's on your account. You just sign in and you slot in a character. So for example, Sampo here, it tells me exactly what it is. For the character leveling, with all of his leveling ascension materials, going to be about almost 1,834,000. Then for traces, again, another thing about this is that it's every trace. It's not just specific traces. Like if you don't level up basic attack all the way, which is fine, this is going to be 2.4 million. And then right here, this is the sum of calculation results. So this is actually everything put together. So this is actually really cool. So it lets us know this is going to be 3.2 million credits altogether, right? Now, for some, this isn't too bad, right? 3.2 million isn't that bad. That's pretty fine. Now, that's just a 4-star. I don't have a 5-star that we can put in here to like put as a representation, but for example, Welt, where he's currently at level 70, and then basically the traces where they're at, the character where they're at, the light cone where it's at, just from 70 to 80, it's going to cost me 3.6 million. So I say that knowing that 5-star characters are normally more expensive. So if you think about it, 3.6 plus another 3.6, maybe 3.6 with Luca, who knows? That's going to be a lot of farming. That's going to be a lot of credits. Now, again, I'm not saying that it's going to be a bad team or that Kafka is going to be a bad pool. All I'm personally asking is whether or not it's going to be exactly what I mentioned, right? If it's going to be that the teams need to be Kafka plus, one extra dot character and a support character and a healer, or if it's going to be a 3rd DPS character for the damage to be 100% optimal, right? Because I'm curious if this whole dot mechanic and echoing the dots to essentially, happen a second time on command, if that's going to be something that can brute force through teams, or if we're still going to be playing like the weakness game where we have to make sure we match up lightning and wind and normal and fire or whatever, because it might be that's the case where we still have to play the weakness games, or it could be that the dot effects are so strong that the damage is so crazy that it brute forces past those teams. I don't think so. To be very honest with you, I've been very cush well, let me say, I've been doing really great with Silverwolf because I can just kind of switch the weakness and just use Jing Yuan, and it's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard not to use this team because it makes it really easy for me. But I don't know what it's gonna be, and I also don't know if it's that we're gonna be building 3 characters or we're just gonna be building Jing Yuan plus another character, and we're just going to slot in the supports and the healers that we already have. Because if it's just Kafka plus another character, or that you might actually have a Sampo that's already built. Obviously nobody has Luca. I don't know. I don't think you're going to want to put a Serval on top of Kafka because that's just double shock, and I don't think that's going to make sense. So more than likely you'll probably put in like either Luca or Sampo to match the weaknesses and then kind of go for there. But that's what I'm thinking. I'm just curious. I'm lifting this up, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that have already thought about this. Like I said, I've been taking a break from streaming and kind of doing my own thing offline, but this is just something that I'm really curious about because I'm in the same boat, right? This is my first Hoyoverse game. I'm really understanding that these games are really, really focused on resource management, and that's a big surprise. Well, not necessarily a surprise, but it's like, holy crap, like I'm really understanding it now because like my next pull is guaranteed because I lost the 50-50 to Lacha. So now it's like, what do I do? Where do I go? Because I already have some characters built up, right? I have supports, I have healers, I have, things already set up so that I can slot another DPS. But I wasn't really thinking that I'm going to have to build a DPS plus a DPS plus a DPS. I don't know if that's going to be the case either. It might not be. It might be completely fine. And, but I imagine that more than likely we're going to have to build Kafka to make sure her set works. And in order to echo a dot from Sampo, if he's level 1, I mean, obviously he wouldn't be, but if he's level 60, let's say, he's not fully built to 80 or 70 at least or something, and he's got like a level 70 light cone, level 80 light cone. I can't imagine that his damage is going to be really big. You probably, in order to echo a big dot, that character has to apply the dot, has to have a lot of attack too, right? Or else the dot that it's echoing is going to be weak. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully I'm making a lot of sense. It's not so much that I'm saying that Kafka is going to be a bad pull, but I'm thinking right now from the information that we have so far is that building an efficient team for Kafka, I'm curious if it's going to be expensive. I don't think that she's not good at all. She's probably going to be really amazing, but I'm curious if it's going to be a high value, or not high value per se, but an expensive team to build, as opposed to building something that is tried and true, having supports, having a tank, having a main DPS, having healer, like that. Because we already have those other extra characters built right now. We don't have multiple dot characters built out. Unless you already did that, you've been using Sampo from the beginning, then great. But most people, I feel like before a banner, they grind for materials for that one character. That's what I did with Silverwolf. And I was so determined to get her, even though I lost the 50-50 there. I kept going because I had already farmed all that stuff. I was like, there's no way I'm going to lose and like not get her. So yeah, I guess that's it. I'm curious. Do y'all think the teams are going to be Kafka plus Sampo or Luca or some type of other dot character plus a support plus a healer? Or do you think that the most efficient teams for Kafkas are going to be Kafka plus 2 other dot characters and a healer, or maybe even a support? Who knows? Like, again, I don't know. I'm just trying to think out of the box, trying to lift it up. Like I said before, more than likely people have already talked about this. People have been thinking about this. I've been trying to like put my words and thoughts together in a video for the past week, but I really haven't been able to. And the banner's just around the corner, so hopefully this makes sense. Let me know what you think down below. Are you going to still pull for Kafka? Are you going to wait for the other characters that come after? Are you kind of in the same boat in the sense that you're thinking, wow, it's expensive to build characters in general. I don't know if this is going to be the most optimal for people like me that are free to play or a low spender that only does like battle passes and express passes and things like that. Then, yeah, let me know. I'm super curious. Like I said before, This is kind of new to me. I don't normally make videos related. I normally don't make YouTube videos, so this is a new experience. So please, be gentle. Hopefully this is just something to tickle your brain. Again, this is just meant to be kind of like a discussion, a thought, stimulate the brain a little bit. I'm curious just to throw that out there in discussion and see what y'all think. If you agree or if you disagree, or if you don't even care and you're like, you know what, I just want Kafka because she's got assets. So, all right. Well, hey, that is it. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you want a little bit more of this, I plan on uploading more Honkai and potentially Genshin related videos on here while I'm just taking a break and being offline, and hopefully doing some more lore related things. That's kind of like where I think my niche is. Like the whole theory crafting thing is very cool. I think I can maybe give my 2 cents on what I think is going to be the vibe, but going hardcore with theory crafting and numbers and stuff like that, I don't really think that's for me. I like experiencing stories and the oomph and the emotion. But anyway, until then, until next time, have a good one. Take care. Goodbye.